the faith, I guess you could say. And I know what I thought was really interesting in Eastern religion, they call religions vehicles, and I love that idea. Is it's a conduit, and it's temporary, and
Mm.
it's transient, and it'll change. And I love how Mahayana is actually a greater vehicle, and they actually they're recognizing how um, religion does change, and it kind of needs to according to the social contexts. Um, so I guess like do you guys think there will be some kind of planetary vehicle, or do you think we'll all be kind of coming together in this sort of more perennial um, spirituality that doesn't need a codified dogma anymore, or something to that
My
degree?
thing, I'm gonna let Matt speak on this because I know he's probably done a lot more research into this particular line. But my thing about the universal tradition that maybe could manifest in planetary form is if it's still an aspect of control, meaning if current religious leaders get together and decide, let's make this bigger so that we can manipulate people a little bit more. And I'm not speaking about all those leaders, but some definitely have the intent of functioning as it did in the Middle Ages, say. And I think that if it's brought about that way, a intentional means of a bunch of powerful religious figures and elitists getting together and organizing something like that, it could be incredibly dangerous. I think that's my caution with the whole New Age thing. However, if it manifests naturally and there's actual spirituality there and actual experience from a number of different people and its grassroots, and it manifests and is maintained that way, I think that could be very good. I don't know if it's possible. I think there are too many different distinctions and too many different separations in all of that um, for it to actually occur. And I think it's a little bit idealistic to think that it might uh,
Something more
in the
like
near
a
in the near future anyway.
something more like an ecology, like Thompson talks about. You know how we're going to have paradoxical things coexisting, an ecology of philosophy, an ecology of religion comes to mind. But
Mm, mm.
sorry, Matt. uh,
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. Uh, uh, I mean, this whole question of planetization, I think we're already economically global, obviously. Um,
Dangerously so. If it's manipulated by the
but
same people who have manipulated the old system.
right. But I think what the problem is that I mean, Steiner, that we need a threefold social order. Right now, economics is ruling over the other two spheres: culture and politics. You know, politics is our government. It's supposed to protect our rights. Culture is supposed to allow our spiritual values to flourish, and economics is supposed to get our. Right now, what's planetized us is the economic sphere, and all the economic sphere cares about is material needs, and the cultural sphere has been swallowed. So that now school education, for example, is geared towards making people better corporate employees rather than fostering our own sense of art and deepening our sense of the things that culture should do. Instead, it's just good employees for the economy. And
Yeah.
similarly, obviously, the bankers and the corporations are buying out all the politicians and their own laws. And so the problem isn't how do we planetize? We're already planetized. The problem is we need the cultural sphere and the political sphere to their proper share of the power and sort of put the economy, the economic sphere in check.
hmm.
I mean, as far as like a planetary religion or even just a planetary culture or something like that, I really don't know because, on the one hand, we want to preserve linguistic diversity and we want there to be as many thousands of different languages as there are today. I think in the last century we've lost like 3,000 of there were 6,000 languages 100 years ago, and now there's about 3,000. So we've lost half in the last 100 years, and it's getting worse. I mean, is that a good thing? Should we all be speaking the same language? Maybe or do we want different languages and diversity? I think there are reasons to want both of those things. Or maybe we should all be multilingual. I don't know. But there's a lot of challenges in that respect, and a lot of it's a mystery to me how exactly it'll work out.
Yeah.
It's interesting the distinction you make between with culture, one that's based primarily on giving expression to the arts and nurturing spirituality, and the other, which we have now, which is really all about economics, because Spangler makes that same distinction. He actually makes a distinction between culture and civilization proper. He says that culture would be the first part, really living, thriving unity, lots of different manifestations and proliferation, many different art forms, spirituality being embedded within those art forms inherently. And civilization, just really well in a lot of ways. And I don't think we're necessarily in the decline of the West, but it's fascinating.
The West is already over.
Yeah, I mean, certainly in many ways it is. Yeah.
We've sort of taken over the world, but in doing so, dissolved what had been our identity. So I think we're in an interesting time now. It seems like East and West have emerged, especially obvious in California, just in terms of culturally and spiritually. But
yeah, I think this is wonderful. Actually, I'm really feeling the love here.
Yeah, we've been getting some good stuff.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, out of all the things, like all the things that I envision for whatever will become of the single eye movement, love and the need to break down the isolation that I was feeling and the alienation I was feeling in my own sphere was really the reason I started it. I mean, obviously all the influences and all of the rest of the things that we talked about is there, but I really wanted to feel connected in a new way and to establish that sacred space in which like a kind of love could flourish. I did with respect, but I wanted it to be a form that was outside of all the forms that we traditionally know in society, and to make it, I mean, I was obviously in like the Hollands Network was the first. I was like, dang, these guys are doing it, man.
Yeah. It's I like it. For the most part, the internet isn't always a great place to find friendship and connections. It's usually just BS and trolls and all that stuff. But I don't know. I think we really do have a little bit of community going on, or at least the seed of it, with our discussions with the Hollands Network. There really is that sense of reaching out and people reaching back. I really like it. On Twitter too. I know Matt, you don't use Twitter too much, but
yeah,
there's it's definitely along the same lines. A lot of interesting people, a lot of interesting communities.
I don't, but I think all my comments and stuff automatically get tweeted.
Oh yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah, they do. Check in with you every now and then for that reason. But yeah, it's an interesting little space, that Twitter zone. It's been really helpful and instrumental in promoting the articles on the website, sure, because people are just recycling them, and it's really cool to have that like live format there where it's like just weird collective. But again, it's like, how do we evolve that? We have to still make it physical and concrete and collaborative in the artistic modes, and always move it further, because I think the moment that we're stuck and thinking, right, this is the collective consciousness operating, but it's not that.